You know, it all started one crisp fall morning in that quiet little suburb of Willow Creek. Just outside Denver, picture those cookie-cutter houses with manicured lawns, the kind where everyone waves, but nobody really knows each other's secrets. When I opened my front door to find a bright red violation notice slapped on my mailbox, courtesy of the HOA, accusing me of some bogus landscaping infringement on my backyard fence line. I mean, I'd lived there for years, tending that garden like it was my therapy after losing my job in the recession, growing veggies and flowers that fed the neighborhood kids during summer barbecues. But suddenly, it was a problem felt like a punch to the gut, especially since I knew deep down this wasn't about grass height or paint colors. It was personal, stemming from that old grudge with my neighbor, Elaine, the HOA president who'd been eyeing my property ever since her husband left her, and she started whispering about expanding the community green space right over my land. Yeah, Elaine, sharp-tongued, always in those power suits, with her sidekick neighbor Tom, who'd nod along like a bobblehead, had it out for me because I'd turned down her lowball offer to buy my extra acre last year, saying it was family land from my grandpa, and boy, did that sting her ego, turning our once friendly chats over the fence into icy stares and petty complaints that escalated quicker than a summer storm. I remember standing there, notice in hand, heart pounding like I'd just run a mile, thinking, why me now? In life was already heavy with bills stacking up and my daughter Sarah starting college, leaving me rattling around that big house alone. It wasn't just the fine they threatened, $500 I didn't have, but the way it dug into my sense of home, like they were trying to erase what made me feel grounded after all those rough years bouncing between jobs, wondering if I'd ever plant roots that stuck. Elaine had power in that HOA board, manipulating rules to suit her whims. Turns out, she'd been nursing this resentment because my garden reminded her of what she lost in her divorce, that big yard she had to sell off, and Tom, her lapdog, was in on it for the kickbacks, hoping to flip properties if they could push folks like me out. That first confrontation hit like a scene from a bad thriller. I marched over to her porch that evening, knuckles white around the paper, and knocked. She opened the door with this smug grin, arms crossed, saying, "Jack, darling, rules are rules. If your fence is an inch over the line, it's got to go, or we'll lean your house faster than you can say foreclosure." I fired back, voice shaking but steady. "Elaine, this ain't about the fence. It's about you not getting your way. Last summer me grandpa built this place with his bare hands, and I ain't letting you bulldoze it for your community project that's really just lining your pockets." She laughed, sharp and cold. "Oh, honey, keep dreaming. The board's on my side, and Tom's got the surveys to prove it. Step out of line, and you'll regret it." Slamming the door so hard the wreath fell off, leaving me fuming on her steps, the weight of isolation crashing in as neighbors averted their eyes, whispering about that troublemaker Jack, because nobody wanted to cross Elaine's iron fist. As the days blurred into weeks, the pressure built. More notices, anonymous complaints about my truck parked too long in the driveway. Even a visit from the city inspector Elaine had tipped off, claiming my garden was a health hazard, with all those bees buzzing around the flowers. I lay awake nights, staring at the ceiling, replaying every slight, feeling like the world was forging me in some invisible fire, bending but not breaking. Those scars from past failures, the layoff, the divorce years, back reminding me I'd survived worse. But this felt deeper, like a test of who I really was. Not just a homeowner, but someone marked for standing up when others bowed. Sarah called from school, worried. "Dad, don't let them push you around, fight smart." And that's when the spark hit. I started digging, literally and figuratively, measuring that fence line myself at dawn, flashlight in hand, discovering it was actually Elaine's hedge encroaching on my property by a foot, thanks to an old survey my grandpa had tucked in the attic. But it went beyond that, talking quietly to other neighbors over coffee, like old Mr. Ramirez next door, who'd grumbled about Elaine finding him for his holiday lights last year because they clashed with the aesthetic, revealing she'd been twisting HOA funds for her own improvements, like that fancy gazebo on community land that suspiciously matched her backyard plans. The conflict gnawed at me. Inner turmoil bubbling. Part of me wanted to sell and run, escape the loneliness shadowing me since my ex left, but another part, fiercer, whispered this was my forge, shaping me into something unbreakable, like that blacksmith story Grandpa used to tell. hammer strikes turning raw metal into a blade. Then came the turning point, that unexpected counterattack that flipped the script like a plot twist in one of those underdog movies. I rallied a few brave souls, including Ramirez and young couple down the street, the Harisas, who'd been hit with similar nonsense over their kids' playset. We formed a little underground group, meeting in my garage under the guise of poker nights, poring over bylaws and emails I'd requested via public records, uncovering Elaine's emails to Tom where she bragged. Once we squeezed Thompson out, that acre's ours for the flipping community be damned. Her words dripping with greed, motivated by her financial pinch post-divorce and Tom's real estate side hustle. Armed with that, I confronted her at the next HOA meeting, packed hall buzzing with tension, standing up as she droned on about standards, and I laid it out calm but cutting. Elaine, you've been playing queen bee long enough. Here's proof your hedge is over my line. And these emails show you're abusing power for personal gain. Step down, or we'll take this to court and expose every dirty trick. The room gasped, her face twisted in rage, spitting back. You little nobody, thinking you can topple me? I've run this place for years, Tom. Back me up. But Tom, sweating bullets, stammered, maybe we should review the docs, as whispers turned to murmurs of support for me. The air electric with shift, me feeling that rush of hidden strength unveiling, like I'd been refined in the fire of all those rejections and delays, not crushed, but empowered. In the end, it culminated in this cinematic showdown at the community center, spotlights from the projector casting long shadows as I presented the evidence on a big screen, mails blown up, surveys mapped out while Elaine paced like a cornered animal, her voice cracking. This is slander. Jack's just bitter because he can't afford to keep up. But the crowd wasn't buying it anymore. Ramirez stood, gravelly voice booming. We've had enough of your games. Elaine, vote her out. And one by one, hands raised, her empire crumbling in slow motion, her storming out with a hiss. You'll all regret this. But the satisfaction washed over me like cool rain after drought. Hugging Sarah, who'd driven home for it. The neighborhood finally breathing free. My garden safe. That weight lifting as folks clapped me on the back, saying, Jack, you did. Idiory, the one who stood tall. It felt like divine reservation. All those slammed doors leading to this open field. Not rejection, but protection from settling for less. And in that moment, under the flickering lights, I saw myself not as the broken guy from before, but as someone marked by fire, resilient, crowned in quiet victory. Yet, as the dust settled and Elaine slunk away, rumor has it she sold her house and moved to Florida. The questions lingered. You know, that nagging doubt. Was it true justice, or just another cycle where power shifts but the game stays the same? With new folks potentially stepping into her shoes, manipulating rules for their own grudges? I mean, the HOA's still there, reformed but fragile, and part of me wonders if my win really changed hearts or just scared them silent after all. Communities like this thrive on unspoken tensions, and maybe exposing one bully only uncovers more beneath the surface. Hey, if this story hits home for you, drop a comment below. What do you think? Was I right to fight back that way? Or should I have just walked away for peace? Share your take on justice in these tight-knit neighborhoods, those HOA headaches, or any malfeasance dong you've faced. Let's chat about who's really in the wrong and how we fix it. Your stories might just spark the next big change.